All right, I'm just down the street from my house, and I am just, blown away by all these churches. I don't know if anyone's ever thought about it, but there's like 4 or 5 of these churches within this block alone. You can walk to them all, and like if you're, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, some of these are like this is ancient technology. A lot of this, like these angles, 45-degree angles, and all this is just part of the sacred geometry, ancient geometry. When you realize like everything is numbers and geometry, and then you start to realize that these churches, including the bells in the towers, help clear and align our chakra system so that we can balance ourselves through health, wealth, prayer, even channeling the dead through us so we could find out about our future and whatnot. But people need to realize these churches are not just for worship. This is way beyond that. And nobody in their right mind would want to build something this crazy. Like, imagine just writing this on paper when you're about to, build this. And you're like, okay, let's go build this with a horse and buggy and a pick and axe with no dump trucks, no nothing. And when you look at our past, none of it's explainable. You got the Hindu temples, Angkor Wat. Like there's so many different... Like this is technology. You can get a whole crowd of people in there, start ringing the bell. They say even parasites and like rats and mice will stay away, so even houses should have their own bells. And a lot of Indians use the bells to align their east-west hemispheres with their brain. Lots of symmetry in here. It's the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. If you guys know anything about that, type those things into Google and start educating yourself, because there's a whole new world we're about to approach. And it's all going to be based off frequencies, vibrations, energy. The entire health system can be based off of this. Everything would just, every hospital on the planet would just collapse. Like, this is just wild. I'm going to try to make it into this church one day. This is our new version of the cross nowadays. The 5G tower. Like, you can't tell me that's not affecting our thoughts and our consciousness. If we're all vibrations, frequencies, and energy, we're all quantum vibrations. This cannot be good. Plus, it's just an eyesore. It doesn't look beautiful at all. I just pulled into this church, and it's kind of like a little guy, just down the street from the bigger guy. I'm not sure how old this one is. Probably still a good 50, 100 years old. It looks pretty old. But I'm just curious, back here, there's a cemetery right behind the church. And I know a lot of Indians, they find out if there's a child death or something like that, they'll literally go and meditate over top of the cemetery, because there's energy coming out from that child, because they're such full of life, they have that life force in them. So I'm curious to know, like, if there's a lot of our after death and whatnot from, in our Hindu temples and everything else that says that there's an afterlife that we're overlooking here a little bit. So maybe this has something to do with it. Maybe it actually generates that energy into this building, or maybe you can get your channeling going, get your intuition stronger, and things start guiding you, because there could be a mirror image of our world. Quantum physics really says that we're in the shadow of another, universe, and it could be all, mirrors, just like Michael Jackson said. So, but yeah, that cemetery is very strange. I also want to mention there's like these lingams here, which if you look into these things, you see them in Washington, and you see them, a lot of them in India, and they're like obelisks or something like that. I can't even pronounce it right. There's one right there. But this thing is the same cat that you see on the Egyptian pyramid that was originally there. This supposedly generates energy if it's made out of a certain stone. So like even that's kind of like a technology that we don't really realize. It's taking the ether, the prana, the yangan, the chi. So many religions have so many names for this stuff, and it's all so overlooked. Like, and if there's someone under there, like death, is that like our own way of mummifying someone? Like maybe there is something really cool about all this afterlife. Maybe there's a lot more to the story than we're living. I don't know. It definitely is an exciting world that this is all being let out. And I think we're all moving into a different consciousness, because we're all very spiritual people. I don't think there's any solid matter here at all. Just like Albert Einstein kind of said, and we're all empty space, 99.99999, empty space. So that more or less says, we're capable of anything.